Well, 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 welcome to the Architects of Fate streaming extravaganza. That's right, you've found the self-proclaimed original Twitch TTRPG stream that lets you shake up our world. Now pay attention because this is how it works. If you'd like to add some loops to this roller coaster ride of a show, you're gonna need Fate Chips. Now these magical loyalty points can be earned just by watching, following, hosting, subscribing, or just engaging with us in the chat. It's like free money, people. With your Fate Chips, you can use your powers as an architect to heal your favorite players, summon items that will make their adventure a lot easier, or a lot harder. You can even make players say or sing outrageously silly things. Think of those possibilities. But wait, there is more. You can also toss our unsuspecting heroes into random encounters that will leave them sweating, strategizing, and questioning their life choices. All it takes is a quick redeem command in the chat. You choose the item or action and the player you want to mess with, and we'll take it from there. So sit back, relax, and prepare yourselves for a mind-blowing spectacle of storytelling and mayhem. We've got adventure, we've got drama, and more surprises than a clown car at a kid's birthday party. So let's go!
Hello and welcome all you Architects of Fate. It is fantastic to have you here with us again for Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed of by Modiphius Entertainment. We come at you today after a bit of a side session of hijinks, shenanigans, and sex dungeons that a couple of our members last week weren't able to make it to. So this week, we are temporarily missing a different couple of our members. They're dealing with some home issues, but they should be able to join us later in the session, hopefully. But with us tonight, we have our moderator, the genius, and the man behind the scenes keeping us running, Nat. After that, we have Verai, the stealthy, dangerous assassin. We have Zhang, the charming, slightly effete diplomat and emissary from far off Kitai. And we have Abertak. the zealous witch hunter of hammering the witch's titties. Verai, would you care to inform our other players what craziness happened last week and what they are about to step into?
So after we sold the children as child labor to the donut shop owner, we went to establish an alibi for Tiber. He got a whole lot of money from his father's bank accounts in order to pay for all of the reconstruction at Poor Town. So we had to go acquire some art in order to kind of establish that alibi for him. So he had something to bring home for his father to justify costs. So we went to a art gallery that was near their home per se. It was an abstract arts gallery. Thornicius thought it'd be a great idea to try to lure the arts dealer into the back room to try to see if there was any like hidden pieces back there that might be better. And
his name was Serge.
Ended up not really thinking before he started drinking some of the house wine, and ended up a little bit incapacitated. So
he was tied up with some things.
So after we bought a piece of neglect art in the front, we went to collect Thornicius. I had to coax the key at knife point from the shop assistant. Made our way back to the back room, which was It was more or less a sex dungeon. Yeah, there was erotic, abstract art hanging on the walls. There was a big bed, and then there were some Stygians with ceremonial daggers standing at the edges of the bed, while Tornicius was kind of just like drooling on himself, and Serge was tying him up. So we made quick work of the Stygians and forced Serge to drink the rest of his tainted wine. He collapsed and passed out. We stole a piece of art from his inner backdoor sanctum, and then I took an extra piece of art from the respectable outer sanctum as additional establishing Tiber's alibi. Yeah, and then we walked blood covered in broad daylight back to escort Tiber home. Poor Tiber was witness to the whole thing, so he may not talk to us for a while. He might have gotten his fill of adventure for one chapter.
The name of the art that they pulled from the sex dungeon, by the way, was The Great Fall Towers.
It was, if you got up close to it and you looked, it was a twisted tower, and like it looked like bricks going all the way up it, but when you got up close to it, there's a whole bunch of little phalluses that stacked up those bricks to form the twisting tower, and the archways in between those were the female equivalent to male genitalia. So it was a classy piece. Yeah, we gave it to Thornicius because we wanted him to remember dearly his time in the sex dungeon and what could have been.
He tried to give it away like 5 times, and everybody's like, you keep it.
It's yours, thanks.
So, the Great Fall Towers art. As we reconvene the party, it is now dinner time-ish. Tiber, you've just dropped Tiber off at the Dairn estate, at the Dairn compound, excuse me, if you will, with his art. The 5 of you are together now. Conan said he probably wasn't going to be welcome at the Dairn estate, so he went to his estate. So it was just down to the 5 of you now, 6 before Tiber left. And you're standing in front of the Dairn estate. You have Thornicius with his art, the Great Fall Towers art. It is art from a certain point of view.
Actually, I don't know if you know this. I am the ultimate arbiter of what is and is not art. There. I'll have to have you paint it for me first.
So you are the beholder.
Literally.
Yeah, because art is in the eye of the beholder.
I would rather be the beer holder. Be right back.
Okay.
And there he goes.
And there he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. I kid. And we continue. Oh, Goliath man. Hey, good to have you again, my friend. Good to have you again, my friend. So we do have a couple of routes in front of us, a couple of objectives that we were trying to meet. Should you decide to follow those objectives or make your own, your beer mug seems empty.
In my official Fate mug, thank you, Doc.
But I do like that mug. The couple of pre-written, predefined, pre-designed, pre-chosen, already existing tasks that we have, because I can't think of the words, was 1, to find those mercenaries, and 2, to find the Keeper of Souls, or 3, do whatever the hell else you want to do, however the hell else you want to do it. It is evening time. You are in front of the Dairn estate, having just dropped Tiber off. You could always also go into the Dairn estate yourselves. You could head to the Bourgeon estate. You could head to Poorside. You could go back to the mercenary camp without having all the baggage and hanger-ons of other NPCs. What would you like to do? Or you can surprise me and really throw me for an edge and do something else.
I'm going to assume that Vera wants to go back to the sex dungeon.
Just for point of clarification, are we still half covered in gore?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, you cleaned some of it off in the fountain where the guards said, "What the hell is going on?" Right, what's all this then? And you're like, there was a boar.
Paint.
There was a boar. It was attacking people here in all the palaces. Somebody led a boar. We barely escaped with our lives. You should go that way and find it.
Yeah, we used the fortune roll to convince him.
Take a long look up and down Verai's gore-covered form, and then ask, "Yes, but is it art?"
My lie was an art, and it worked. So we're half covered in gore. Whatever we do is gonna, whatever y'all want to do. Zhang, our noble emissary, do you have any ideas on where to look next?
Who's the only one not covered in gore, by the way?
Yeah, you're not covered in gore.
You're covered in filth, which is very different.
Maybe moral filth, but not anything.
I remember those children.
I really wish that didn't.
So, I'm still dubious that the whole Keeper of Souls thing is anything more than a creative name for somebody, because my experience is that really good sneaky evil sorcerers don't give themselves names like that. But although it could be the pawn of one who's a junior, and then you do give themselves names like that, so they attract all the attention.
To be fair to this, whatever they call him, you aren't always the origin of your own name or your own nickname or what it is that people call you. So
by the time you actually earn the name Keeper of Souls, you can make people call you whatever the fuck you want. But
and the Hyborian world is not exactly known for subtlety.
But it's exactly what I would do if I were an evil sorcerer and I wanted a pawn of mine to get all the attention.
So if you were Tyr Vishoth, the big bad evil guy and necromancer, and one of your 3 predefined minions happen to be in this region of the world.
So how about this? What is, Vera, remind me, our best lead on the Keeper of Souls? We didn't really come up with much at all, did we?
So I think we kind of have a bit of a dead end on that, but I would personally think our best option was so far the closest person we saw to casing us for maybe like nefarious jobs was actually Elder Dairn himself. We're standing outside of his home, but it would have to probably be the noble that led that line of questioning, because the rest of us are covered in gore and probably shouldn't sit on his nice, plastic covered furniture.
Perhaps you should find the nearest latrine and dunk yourself in it. It would probably be cleaner than what you got on.
You changed your name to
I'll go back to
It's a good change. It's a good change.
But so I mean, as far as what we found out previously about the mercenaries, right? They were a larger clan that picked up some work when they wanted to. They were thought to be retired. If anybody had their fingers in the underworld and tasking well-to-do mercenaries to do their bidding, Elder Dairn may have an idea, or he may also have an idea as to what the Keeper of Souls is about, because I don't think we have a lot of details on that one either.
You know what? That guy's senseless ramblings could be useful for once. I like that idea.
Wait, Elder Dairn had senseless ramblings?
No.
Didn't he?
Huh?
Didn't he? Am I thinking of the wrong one?
You're thinking of the wrong one.
Oh, never mind then.
Dairn is not
that was Corin's grandpa, the kind of crazy one.
All right.
Elder Dairn was the one that he had the study full of collections and trophies.
Right. So I have an idea. How about we clean? You go talk to Elder Dairn, and I have not yet been. I've seen the temples of Mitra in the city. I'm dubious that there's much real.
You have seen a temple of Dairn near the entrance to the noble district. It was very opulent.
Yes. And I'm dubious that a lot of real, crusading against the dark is happening there, but I could be pleasantly surprised. So it's fairly near the noble area. After I clean up, swing by there while you're talking to Elder Dan.
You
Yeah,
are
maybe-
in the noble district right now, actually.
Yeah, so there may be nothing to gain from that temple. I'm skeptical, but I mean, at least we can check that box.
You have been given
And there I
directions
can come
to the
with you in
high
case I need
temple.
to start a fist fight with a priest again.
You have been given directions to the high temple, and you also met the what was his title? Did I write down his title? Or let me rephrase that. High priest. You have even met the high priest Velisi of the high temple at the
At the
feast.
dinner thing.
He was the one that was in the full like Orthodox regalia.
I think it's a plan then.
So we're going to split the party. We're going to send the emissary alone, and everyone else is going to go all blood covered to the temple.
Oh no, we're cleaning up first.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was getting a bath.
At the Darren estate?
Will the Darrens allow me to bathe in their estate?
At this point, you still have an open invitation to the guest house at the Darren estate, or at least you haven't been informed otherwise.
So I can understand why these people are covered in blood. Why is this one covered in blood?
He was he popped a cultist like a tick.
That's pretty much
this. Or are you saying that he went with y'all?
Yeah, well, we weren't here last night.
Bree played you guys. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
It was her birthday. She got to play the both of you.
Good.
Everybody lived.
There you go.
What's the name of this guy again?
There.
No, not Elder Darren. I'm talking about the of Souls guy.
Keeper.
Keeper of Souls. Thank you.
The keeper.
Sorry, it's been a long day, and I have.
No, you're good. You're good.
Brains.
You're good.
Okay, so I shall acquire a clean bucket full of clean water, and
Clean bucket full of dirty water.
I mean, that's fairly realistic for a place like this.
Hell no, because the Darrens are a touch on the opulent side and have an entire cadre of slaves that are more than happy to wash you up.
Oh, it just reminded me of that, like, milk, but put it in a dirty glass thing.
I tied my own shoes once, an entirely overrated experience.
So aside from any hints as to the whereabouts of this Keeper of the Souls, does anyone want any other information about anything else from Elder Darren?
If I could just say, you're probably best having this type of conversation together. That way you can pop in multiple ideas to help him. And I'm not going to be like, you're not there, you can't say anything.
I mean, I can't honestly think of anything at the moment, but
I would say see if he's got any jobs for us before we depart. Right? See if he's got any jobs for us. If anybody needs murdering, we're always up for a quick buck, aren't we? And it further ingratiates us with the Darren family, as long as it doesn't run us afoul of Conan and his clan.
Please note that this town is very big on the rich hiring tons of mercenaries. If he needs anyone killed, he'd already gotten the mercenary groups to do that.
Right, but we're also a small team with more surgical precision. Well, we're a small team with different skill sets. He may have
surgical precision.
I'm not going to say precision, but different skill sets.
Not until the archer gets back.
So you guys are going into the Darren estate, and you're going to the guest houses and having the indentured staff clean you up?
I mean, sure.
Okay. It takes a period of time, considering the guest house only has one main bath area, bathing area. So unless you're all bathing together, it takes a little bit of time to get all of you bathed through.
Before everyone starts bathing, I would like to arrange the meeting, not just have everyone bathe and then we barge in on him. Give them time to.
You barge in on us.
It's a good call. That's a good call. You let the staff know that you would like a meeting with Isaac the Elder.
At his earliest convenience.
While we blow up his bathroom.
Staff says, very well. We shall have a dinner served, and you will have an audience at dinner with Isaac the Elder. Would you care for the young Lord Tiber to attend as well?
If he's available and up for it, and if his father permits.
I mean, you're not gonna be at this meeting, so I would let Michael.
I thought we decided everybody was going to be at the meeting.
Oh, I thought we were going to the temple. In that case, fine.
Well, it's going to be a dinner thing, and
what? I love dinner.
Yeah. I would not be opposed if he wishes to attend. However, I am to understand that he had a rather busy day and may be more inclined to recover on his own.
I'll mark him for optional, says the servant. I'll mark him as optional.
He's probably used to it.
Being optional is probably an upgrade for him.
I was about to say it's probably
Okay, so as you guys are getting cleaned, the staff member then comes back.
We still haven't seen the second eldest, right?
You have not seen the second eldest or the mother.
Okay. What if they're the same person?
A little while later, the staff member comes back while you guys are getting cleaned up and says that Lord Isaac Darren the Elder will be happy to receive you for a dinner at such and such time in about an hour. Please be in attendance wearing common regalia and cleaned up. And as he looks over the ones of you that are still a little covered in splatter and smelly, he goes, and preferably smelling nice as well. We'll have your things cleaned.
Sounds lovely.
So all of you are offered and provided clean, basic, fancy, noble attire, but basic noble attire, clean pants, silky shirts, lots of frills. As the only one that is clean here, Zhang, you have the option to continue to wear your own emissary, or you can wear the stuff that's offered.
I have my own armor, but I also have my own set of fancier clothing that I prefer to wear.
Right.
Well, and he's going to want to see you in your fancy Katai stuff anyway.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably a good assumption. But not armored, not armed, just here's a set of nice, clean clothes for you to wear.
Yeah, not armed.
I will allow a thievery or a sleight of hand to sneak weapons into it. But it was made pretty clear that as guests of the establishment, he expects you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try to sneak a warhammer in there. So
I have no need.
It makes sense, I suppose.
But as your character, I would assume that you're going to give me either a thievery or a sleight of hand to have a knife or 3 on you.
She says that she slips a stiletto between her boobs.
What makes you think I need to?
What makes you think that her nipples aren't already stilettos?
I'll come seemingly unarmed. It's fine.
Seemingly unarmed.
All right. Well, if you don't roll beforehand, you will be unarmed. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about your abilities. Never mind. Mostly unarmed. So roughly an hour later, the three of you, technically the five of you, but right now we'll just worry about the three of you. Two of you wearing nice, offered by the Dairns in the local fashion.
The other two probably needed more scrubbing.
What's that?
The other two probably needed more scrubbing.
Yeah, they might just burn them.
For practice.
And then you are led into a smaller dining room than the one you've seen before. So far, you've really seen the study, which is just off of the Great Hall and had visibility into the Great Hall, and then you had the feast itself in the Great Hall. This time, you are taken not to the study, but to a smaller dining room, a more intimate dining room, one that's not meant for 50 people, that's meant for 10. And again, here, what you see, his decoration style seems to be trophies. A scary beast here, a tattered banner there, an artifact, some ancient artifact here, and a couple other things of the sort, old artifacts and banners and stuffed beasts and things like that. A little more tasteful here. This room isn't meant for public display, so to speak. But at the same time, it does hint towards old power. If you give me an observation check, somebody.
That sounds like a job for Verai. Oh, because
that's a lot. Okay. All right. And a lore check, please. Somebody give me lore. Don't care who.
That sounds like not Verai.
No. I have one very specific type of lore, but other than that, let's see here. I have to try it.
Nope, no, that's not great. That's not great. All three of you have a lore of 9.
Well, I'll try it. What could go wrong?
Hey, a resubscription from Goliath Man.
I actually got one success.
By the way, I'd like to point out Goliath Man is one of my friends from the Wednesday night Call of the Netherdeep sessions. And if you guys aren't seeing there, you absolutely should join us every other Wednesday for Call of the Netherdeep. We just finished the intro chapter, had a blast. I'm a particular fan of Aldane, my bagpipe playing druid bard thing. Thing, yes. But anyways, so one success, but you got really good on the observation. All right. The main thing that you're noticing from these artifacts and other things that he has on the wall is the newest one is older than Isaac.
So trophies from before his time, and therefore not anything that he's done has added to them.
Yes, but they are impeccably well maintained, dusted, cleaned, exactly the same distance apart, exactly the same distance off of the ground from the center of them. They are very precisely placed. The lore tells you they are older than anybody in the family. The observation tells you they are very precisely placed, they are very clean, they are very well maintained, and that one's a forgery. Maybe not a forgery, maybe a remake, but it is definitely not the original of whatever it is it intends to be.
There's a thin line between forgery and reproduction.
Sitting at the table, or I should say, you guys are introduced to the table first. And just after the three of you are brought to the table, Isaac the Younger Isaac the Lesser, if you will, but he goes by Isaac the Younger, comes into the room, who is the firstborn. Isaac the Younger comes into the room, sees you guys, and
Immediately.
guests at dinner. What a delight. Wish I had been warned about this. And then Isaac the Senior and a very matronly, very severe, very pale woman come in. This is Isaac the Elder and his wife, the theoretical mother of the 3 sons.
Theoretical?
Ostensible.
The ostensible mother of the 3 sons.
Mm.
And I don't think I ever actually gave her a name, but it doesn't matter right now. And so the 6 of you sit down at the table. You've got your small plate, your larger plate. You've got your fork, your other fork, your third fork, your knife, your spoon, your champagne, your fluted glass, your larger glass, your lead bottom glass. And the 3 Darrens sit down, and this just seems like a Tuesday to them. This is not a feast or a presentation. This is just how they eat. Tiber, however, does not show.
Thought that might be the case.
Does that give rise to any surprise looks upon their face? Or
Not
does
announced.
anyone inquire as to his missing personage?
Not announced. Nope.
See.
You asked for an audience with Isaac the Elder. You got an audience with Isaac the Elder, his wife, and his eldest.
I'll thank them for having us, and especially on such very short notice.
He makes some platitudes about, gracing our house with your personage.
And I appreciate all that he has done for us. We do not intend to impose upon your household very much longer, though we do have one final bit of business in the town.
A soup appetizer is brought out. A nice chilled soup appetizer is brought out while you're talking.
Yep. I would like to inquire as to have you heard any news or any interesting stories of rising cults or any specific was it sorcerers?
We're looking into potentially dangerous cult threats, like this cult of Solopetha that wants to undermine the fabric of society. But we've come to our attention that may not be the only one. Have you heard of anything else?
We'll even give him a 2d20. I need one of you guys to roll me, what is it, insight?
I can do that.
Yeah, I need one of you to roll me an insight.
Actually,
Let me do that.
you go for that.
That's yeah, I even get to reroll one. So
Nice.
let me. It says without well.
Well, I'm glad you get to reroll.
Yeah, me too. What I have. Yep, I can reroll one of them. So,
Yeah, you have 2 insight.
that doesn't. They don't all do that.
Fair enough.
Oh, that was not any better. So sorry, guys.
Well, sometimes the dice don't love you. Isaac the Elder says that he's never heard of this cult of Solopetha before.
Well,
but
I think we actually talked with him about it before.
You did. And again, he said the same thing before as well. And you even succeeded at your insight check then.
Okay.
Can I observe whether or not, in him mentioning that, whether or not the staff themselves react any? A twitch of the ear, a fumbled dish, a half step.
Yes. One success?
I'll re-roll the other one here.
You can re-roll that? Oh, observation. Okay. Gotcha. Re-rolling for observation.
That was worse.
Actually,
One complication.
You didn't help the situation.
Nope.
Observation did not help.
So, first off, Isaac the Elder says, no, we talked about this before. Again, I haven't heard of the cult of Solopetha. And I'm going to paraphrase. This is kind of with some small talk as well. No, I haven't heard of this cult of Solopetha. Cults are always coming and going.
That's true.
Cult one day, none the next. Who knows what's going on these days? Generally speaking, they're all just somebody abusing the gullible anyways for their own gains. Not abusing. He doesn't say abusing. It's just somebody using the gullible for their own gains anyways.
I mean, I tend to agree with him. So I act like he's made a very good point, and like I didn't truly expect him to necessarily, not that I would expect him to have that kind of information, right? Which could be insulting in and of itself. But and then I go on and say, we just don't know whether this, and I act like it's a silly title, Keeper of Souls, is a mercenary leader or a cult leader, or as you say in your wisdom, both potentially using others.
Give me one more insight check, because this is the first time you've said the words Keeper of Souls. But before I get to that, I'm going to resolve the last bit of observation here.
Sorry.
Bob, your observation. You had one success and one complication.
My efforts to distract him didn't work well.
As you ask about the cult of Solopetha, one of the servants that's coming in to pour wine accidentally knocks over a plate at one of the seats that wasn't being used. They were removing the plates from the table because they didn't know how many seats were going to be there for some reason. Maybe it was Tiber's plate. They didn't know if he was going to arrive, and he dropped the plate. It didn't break. He dropped the plate. It didn't make a bunch of noise. Isaac maybe didn't even notice. But about the same time Solopetha was being mentioned, one of the servants definitely dropped a plate, and Isaac the Younger is glaring daggers.
At who?
At the servant that dropped the plate. He is unhappy about that. Now, to your insight, after having just mentioned the Keeper of Souls for the first time,
I'll try this again. It says it's stuck on rolling the dice.
Oh, come on, Roll20. Don't do this to us again. Come on, Roll20. I don't think it's stuck on rolling the dice. I think it was you. There it goes. Your internet clicked out on us.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to guess it's the first roll is the one that we should take, though.
Whichever one you want. I thought
there's 2 successes for both of them. So
yeah, they do. True statement. Sure. So the interesting thing, when you mentioned the Keeper,
actually, the second one is 3 successes, but I think we should take the first one because
I think the first one was the intended roll.
Yep.
At 2 successes, mention of the Keeper of Souls. Again, Isaac the Elder says, that sounds like a pretty grandiose title for a cultist, but that's...
I know, right?
If you're going to be a cultist, you might as well go big, right?
I laugh and zips him wide like he's just made an incredibly witty,
Isaac the Younger, however, stops moving for a moment. just a moment. He's not saying anything. Isaac the Elder is obviously the one that you're in conversation with. Isaac the Younger stops moving for a moment.
I don't have these social skills to take advantage of that, but it is a strange title, isn't it, my lord? It's these cultists often make more of themselves than there really is.
Isaac the Elder makes some bad joke about the Keeper of Souls. Sounds like the Mitran should have a say with him. The one true faith, as proclaimed by the High Priest Vasily.
Do we detect any sarcasm out of that statement?
Sarcasm might be a strong statement. You know that him and Vasily have a close relationship, as seen at the feast prior. Vasily being the high priest of Mitra and an advisor to the king, as they bragged about multiple times during that feast.
Yep.
We'll give
Makes
him a
sense.
smile for his lame joke.
Perhaps we should go talk to, or at least seek an audience with the High Priest Vasily about the.
I'm certain if there were any kind of serious cultish activity, he would have already taken care of it. But I have been meaning to visit the temple myself and pay my homage. So perhaps if he's there, we'll say hello. If nothing else, I hate to trouble the man. He's clearly very busy.
Quite extraordinarily busy. He is one of the most important men in the entire city. Some say the only man more important than him is the king himself.
It seems to be rather common these days. Religious figures with enormous amounts of power.
Is that not the case where you're from?
No, certainly not.
Interesting.
He kind of ticks up on that, Isaac Elder, and starts asking things about religion, culture, power in particular, who gains power, who wields power in Kitai. So just from that point of conversation, how open are you?
Fairly open. I don't get into any close held secrets or anything that could not be discovered by any foreigner that travels into Kitai.
Kitai is a pretty insular society. Foreigners aren't allowed in there a whole lot.
Why don't you regale his lordship with a story about the boar?
Most of those stories you would require that he knew the boar.
Well, that's the point of you telling the story.
So you tell him, so you tell him a little bit about just the commonly known basics, basically, which is probably more than anything else he's ever heard.
Yes.
Okay. Without going into details, the commonly known basics. There is the celestial court, etc., etc.
Yep.
Okay. During this period of small talk, the soup course has been finished and taken away. There's been a refill of wine or two and water for those that don't want the wine, as well as the wine. A second course has come out. It has been a breaded bird meat dish. And then an entree plate has come out, something hearty like of a seafood dish.
I don't like the way he said bird meat.
A seafood dish.
Well, it's a variety of quail,
should say.
Chickens,
maybe
turkeys.
Maybe.
A freshwater fish dish is brought out as the entree. This isn't exactly a city known for its fishing, but there is a very large river that goes by. So fish isn't unheard of in the area, but it is quite rare. And not so much rare as it's a delicatessen, but rare as in it's not a primary source of food here. Does that make sense? There is a big river. People can fish. but it's mostly planes. All right. Is there other? Would you like to ask maybe about the mercenaries, or what other small talky things here would you like to achieve during the course of this dinner conversation?
I think it's Verai's turn.
Quite certainly you asked.
You have not yet mentioned the mercenaries at all.
Well,
I wasn't sure if we wanted to or not.
I figured we'd already asked about them and gotten the information that we needed.
Not from the Darrens.
It's been a while.
He may have more, but I will leave that to Verai because I don't know if Verai thinks it's wise to reveal we had that run in or not.
So I was more curious about whether we should be asking him in the company of his wife and elder son, but yeah, I figure since Isaac the Elder seemed to be in our first meeting kind of like asking us probing questions, seeing if we were fit any bills that he might be make us of use to him. I figured he seemed to be more of one of those people that could have ties into the underworld of the city and might have an insight into who these guys are. So I figure we could probably ask him.
You also haven't gathered any information on the inverse on Radamont either.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's familiar with.
Oh, was that the guy? Was that the crazy guy with the parade and before they threw gold and they tore it in pieces?
Yes.
Yeah, the sewer king.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I'll kind of mention in passing. Sir Isaac the Elder, we're under the impression that yes, there are a lot of mercenary groups in these parts, some more famous than others. Are there any larger mercenary groups that like stand in renown above all others that are more selective and well off in the society nowadays?
He goes, I mean, it always depends on your budget. Are you looking to hire some mercenaries or looking to identify some mercenaries? Because if you're looking to hire some mercenaries, there's a lot of options out there. I mean, there are the mercenaries that the king himself uses. There are mercenaries that we acquire the services of. There are mercenaries that anybody can acquire the services of because they're cheap and useless. So
makes perfect sense. We were just out at just the other day. We were out at the mercenary camps, and while we were drinking at a bar, some mercenaries were just regaling us with these legends of a mountain of a man that stood leaps and bounds above everybody else, and just was an invincible monster as a mercenary. And in his troop was another man that wore the head of a dire wolf and was accompanied on either flank by these gigantic shieldsmen, right? Like it's these kinds of like stories that are just the opulence and the extravagance and the eccentricity of that really
observation.
Who, me?
Yes. I mean, anybody. I don't really care who, but...
No, wait.
Mrs. White and Yvette.
One. Oh, I at least got one.
Shouldn't you be rolling 2 die 20?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I got a 14 and a 16. I re-rolled for one of them to be a success.
So one success. Okay.
Yeah.
Isaac the Elder says, hold on, somebody just knocked at my door. One moment, please.
Stripper Graham.
It's a stripper named Graham.
That would be awkward.
Graham from Uncle.
Hello, Graham from Uncle.
Graham from Uncle. I am your singing telegram.
Hey, Nat, can you put it on? We will be right back. And give me just one moment, please. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had a knock at my door. I had to take care of something real quick, but we are back. All right. So you've described these mercenaries, and Isaac the Elder says, mercenaries are always trying to outdo themselves. They're always trying to outdo themselves. Let's see, what was the exact question that he was responding to? Oh yeah, you're hearing stories about them. He goes on a little he goes just on a little talk about mercenaries, because obviously you guys are foreigners, and he has to mansplain a little bit to you because you're being foreigners, just about how the mercenary culture here is. And 1 week one mercenary company might be on top, but the more famous you are, the more dangerous it is, because one failure, if it gets known, and your entire reputation is ruined, and your entire reputation could be ruined, and you'll never get hired again, even with just a single well-known failure. But while he's telling a story about mercenaries and reputations and popularity, your one success of observation notes that once again, Isaac the Elder looks at you funny and pauses for a moment before realizing it and going back into his food.
Sorry, point of clarification. You mean Isaac the Younger?
Sorry, Isaac the Younger. Did I say Elder? I apologize. Isaac the Younger once again pauses and looks at you funny before going back into his foods.
Well, what keeps one of these heavily armed mercenary groups from seizing power here?
All of the other heavily armed mercenary groups that would be hired.
If they were to, for example, work together, wouldn't that be? Is there a standing military here?
Oh, sure. Ophir has a small but elite standing military, very well equipped. It's a wealthy nation, the king himself is a very wealthy family, as well as all of the loyal nobles that would move in a hurry to protect and support the king from any sort of rebellion from these mercenaries.
Okay.
But honestly, the best balance to the mercenaries is all of the other mercenaries that we would hire to destroy them.
That sounds a dangerous game in a way, but I see your reasoning.
They're in it for the money. They're not here for political loyalty. They want
that's true.
money. And nobody has more money than Ophir.
I raise my glass to him,
Reverend. Well,
Has his wife been speaking at all? Or is she just
Not a word.
Not my
Now,
business.
is this the I'm browbeaten and don't feel like I have a voice, or severe I don't care to join the conversation because it's beneath me?
Give me an insight.
Ooh, not the best, but we can try.
I mean, you could always declare fortune on your insight.
I feel like you should make this roll because it's probably not my focus.
No successes.
No idea. She has been very quiet throughout the conversation.
Fair enough.
Which it's really odd that I haven't named her because she actually does have an importance to the story, and I just haven't named her. I'll have a
Remind
name
me-
for her by next week.
They told us what the middle son does, and I don't remember. He's with the King's Guard or something?
Yes.
the second son is on the King's Guard. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll ask him how often is he able to make it home? Speaking, because I can segue from like talking about the King's military and protecting mercenaries into that.
He talks about his second son a little bit, mostly just to say that his second son is serving proudly, bringing honor to the Darren family name. You can tell that more than anything, he's proud of the connection to the king that he's got through his second son, rather than the second son himself.
Sure.
But the second son is here in the palace, apparently at the palace. So one can assume that they're not totally estranged.
No further questions at this time.
So can I at least turn to the lady Darren? And I'm a woman too. We're all
Yep.
girls here. Just in case it's faux pas for one of the men to talk directly to her, I can at least compliment her on her beautiful dress and thank her for welcoming us into her home this evening.
Her response is very, very polite, very neutral.
But I got her to talk.
She says that it's a pleasure to have esteemed acquaintances in her home. Those with such potential as yourselves. She doesn't say anything about being friends of Tiber.
Understandable.
There's a couple of hooks here that I have mentioned, and I don't feel like I don't know what your guys' intent is here. But Isaac the Lesser has definitely made moments of.
I'm not going to call him out on it in front of everybody. I'm going to send Vera to seduce him.
I really didn't want to mention it in front of his mom and dad.
Right,
And
what am I supposed to do? Just stop the table and go,
gotcha. Yeah, I definitely have a note, right? He's definitely a person of interest to circle back with and follow up with, but I'd definitely rather corner him on a sidebar or something than to ask more probing questions in front of his father. I don't want to appear disrespectful to his father. Or,
And I'm not gonna like look at the matron and go, "Is yo kids?" I'm not gonna.
His father didn't react. We don't know whether or not his father knows anything, actually, right? We just suspected his father would be a good vector for finding these answers. But through that,
I like the word vector.
Yeah, it just appears like we're leaning more towards the sun at this point. So, I guess.
So after the entree, a nice creamed dessert is brought out with some fruit and some chilled cream dish. Yeah, buddy, it has been creamed.
Yeah, no. No.
I need ice.
He needs the ice.
All right, very well. Well, the rest of this is in your hands or your pants.
Yeah, Verai.
What, Verai?
Yeah, Verai.
What?
Yeah.
It's in your pants.
I didn't hear.
I said it's in your pants.
What's in my pants?
That's the question.
Ain't nobody deserves to die yet.
No, to interrogate.
Oh, yeah. So actually, I guess since we're here enjoying this lovely meal, so
Tiber also has not come up in the conversation at all.
And I'm assuming that's on purpose. And I'm not. Look, I'm not here to like. I'm not here to make enemies of these people.
I've only got two other like real lines of questioning. One of which is to check in and see how Tiber is doing.
But you don't have to ask them.
Because I mean, like, it is only because of Tiber that we've even come into their home in the first place, right? So, back originally. So it would make sense that since we're here,
that's one explanation
of Tiber, that we ask how Tiber's doing. So Sir Isaac the Elder, your son Tiber, we've seen him a couple of times over the recent days. How's he doing? Is he doing well?
Sir Isaac the Elder kind of pauses for a moment, and the wife says, then the wife steps in and she says that
She does.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how she would be putting this here. She says, my youngest son has many dreams in this world. Unfortunately, sometimes he should be focusing more on how he can support the family rather than his own lofty ideals.
Supporting the family.
Insight.
Let's see here. Yeah, I gotta this.
I don't care which one of you rolled. I only wanted one of you to roll.
Sorry, I rolled.
All right, well, we'll do somebody else's then.
Verai, how many? Verai, what was that? 2 successes or 1?
1 success.
1 success. Well, who rolled first? Mike, you rolled first. Is that 1 success or 2? Your roll was first. Okay.
I rolled before Verai. Oh, sorry, I rolled before Mike, but whatever.
Okay. Either way, it was 1 success.
Yeah.
With 1 success, you note that as she is talking about Tiber, she gives a touch of side-eye to Sir Isaac the Elder.
Now, by side-eye, do you mean like warning, or do I sense a bit of distaste in there?
More like she's saying what he wants to hear.
Ah. Kind of scripted?
Yes, practiced.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So
Does he get any insight as to why she wanted to say it on his behalf?
Not at a single
If he
success.
specifically
I don't
wanted
know
to
that we'll
say
figure
on
that out
its
so
own.
much as we can follow up with what are those things that Tiber can do or should be doing to benefit the family. Is there anything that Tiber can do? Anything that we can assist Tiber in doing that can benefit the family?
And I look at very strangely as if I don't know why that would be our priority.
Isaac the Younger says, well, it seems that only through your action has he ever actually been successful with anything on the trade deal he made with at the gem mine.
Well,
Other than that, he's never provided for the family any support, and even that was through you, and therefore you have our appreciation for your efforts.
and we're much ingratiated. We very much appreciate your hospitality and your willingness to meet with us. We absolutely we don't want to impose upon you and your family. We're simply just we wanted to make sure that your son was safe. We didn't want to interfere in his personal affairs or your family affairs when we came across him. We were just concerned about the circumstances and just wanted to help out if we could.
Yeah, that's a good point. Why did you decide to help my little brother?
I look at Vera and I'm a little like somebody thought he was cute, right?
In a world full of bad people trying to pretend to be good, Tiber is a genuinely good person, and
All the more shame for it.
Boy, he is not good at playing this game, is he?
I think the world needs more genuinely good people. And
The
I
world
think that's
might,
wonderful.
we don't.
Well, I mean, so I guess we
If we're being completely honest, I saw an opportunity and I took it. Obviously, he was going to get himself hurt because the group that he was going to meet was not going to be the ones he expected and probably wouldn't have been so nice. And it is an opportunity for us to continue on with our goals to stop a serious threat to the east and for me to prevent it from coming over to the west.
I think you had that backwards, but
Hmm?
you your heart's in the right
It's
place,
fine.
but I think you
It's
just
fine.
directed that.
Isaac the Elder says, to stop a serious
From-
threat. Which threat is this that you speak of? Is this the cult of the Sola something that you keep speaking of?
Direst sorcery, my lord. As you know, I am a witch hunter by calling, by destiny. And I'll sort of give him the rundown, right? That this kingdom has fallen, it dances at the hands of a sorcerer, and that
The
Yeah.
Ophir or the Border Kingdom?
border kingdom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And that it is my sworn duty to the bright gods, all of them, to do anything I can to prevent the outer dark from spilling into this world.
And
I
is
care little. I care little for men being enslaved in body, but the dark powers enslave the spirit, and that is where I draw the line.
And is this why you are in line with the Bourgeons? The room gets a little chilly as he says that.
I laugh a little and tell him that and he can make as many insight rolls as he wants to know that this is the absolute truth, and I think Corin Bergeron is an idiot. And I think his family is absurd. But I will take any assistance that I can get when it comes to fighting true evil.
He lets that soak in for a moment and then says, then truly, might you be an ally and a faithful servant of the High Priest Vasily in his quest for eradication of evil?
And I'll say, and I have been remiss not to present myself to him. Typically, when I do journey to a new city, I present myself to all the temples of the bright gods to let them know of my.
Oh, but there is only one bright god. The others might claim it, but the pantheon belongs to Mitra.
No, I let that pass without comment, and I say, well, you know, I will tell him the story of finding on a Pict this hideous caricature of a jaguar, and clearly it reeked of magic power and sorcery, and how I went to the temple of Mitra and cast it into the flames and watched Mitra's holy flame devour it. That was like our second adventure, I think.
Yeah.
And regale him with that true life story of how I appreciate Mitra's cleansing flames.
And that jaguar was a viewer purchase, by the way. No, I mean it was that is what happened, but it was a loot drop from.
Well, no, I know it was, but my character is not a and magic. All magic is suspect.
Right.
I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, and to open the door to allow any corruption in. And so, with the possible exception of the giant cursed object horde that Verai has,
so at this point we have made it. At this point, we have made it through the dessert and to a digestif, a rather stout, bitter drink.
I'll ask him.
Warm.
May I tell the High Priest Vasily that I come with your recommendation to speak of these matters?
He says, if you can acquire an audience with the High Priest Vasily, then please send him my dearest regards.
And I will thank it, because and hopefully he gets the impression that Abratek is nothing if not sincere about this. That in a way he is not necessarily a good character. He has a mission and a calling, and
that's the sort of power that he can.
Not as good as the Spanish Inquisition might have.
You don't know what kind of devilry the Spanish Inquisition might have saved us from. Our chief weapon is fear and surprise, and restless efficiency.
Completely unexpected. Nobody expected it.
Surprise, ruthless efficiency, and the most fanatical devotion to the Pope.
Hey, Torquemada, say, what's the matter?
Don't expect me to break out of the song and dance.
So, with that...
I just got back from an auto de fe.
Auto de fe? What did he say?
It's what you oughtn't to do, but you do anyways.
So we are at the digestif. That is the last moment of the conversation where we can still be gathering information. Is there any last pieces of conversation to have done at this dinner with Isaac the Elder, Isaac the Younger, and Isaac the Elder's wife?
There are, but there are none that Abratek would pursue.
You're muted.
Us?
We are not muted.
So we're still talking about things that can further the family's objectives and goals and support the family, right? Things that Tiber could be doing, or others to support the family, right? Is there anything that the family does require at this juncture of us, or would like us to perhaps do in furtherance of the family's goals, since we have been so well hosted by the Darren family?
You know what? That is a very good question. And I want to give you one more opportunity for insight.
Fine. I will use
is this you want everybody to roll, or you want one person to roll?
Just Bob. Just Verai.
Point of fortune. Son of a god!
Did you say you were using a point of fortune though?
I said it like twice, 3 times. I'm using a point of
you said it,
fortune.
too.
2 so was that the? I still get a
That is-
complication.
That is 2 successes and a complication.
I don't have a point of focus.
An insight?
Oh no, son of a wait! My insight is 12. I did not know that.
You got 2 points of focus in insight.
And I still rolled a 16 and a 20.
2 successes and a complication.
Yes. Okay.
So with that conversation, he responds, with some platitudes, you get some information, but the real thing that you incite from it is what your expectations would be is somebody with ambitions and designs like this person would have already been using you, would have already asked you to achieve something, would have already asked you to do something to in some way pay back the hospitality or use you directly. And Isaac Dairn the Elder has in no way attempted to ask, persuade, or to get you in any fashion to perform an action that would enable, empower, or otherwise strengthen him or his family.
The border kingdom we're talking about, it borders Ophir, right?
Not directly, no. Actually, not even closely. So Nemedia, which is a rather large kingdom, is between Ophir and the border kingdoms. The border kingdoms are up in the north.
Look at the map.
Yeah, the border kingdoms are up in the north. So they border like Cimmeria and Vanaheim and the northern edge of Nemedia and Aquilonia. So like if Aquilonia is here and Nemedia is here and they hate each other, the border kingdoms are here between them.
Is it too far away for me to reasonably offer, hey, if we could get you some great trade deal with this kingdom once we take it back, what could you throw in to try to defeat the sorcerer?
No, not at all. Actually, that's from what you gain. That was what part of what the Burjones were trying to get from it was exclusive rights to raw materials that might be found up there.
So I don't know what I can offer yet, but I'll float the idea and see with the promise of let me see what we could do, because Evertax has one primary goal here, and that is to prevent the corruption of the world. So,
and again, with that
except
insight,
by Berai has a license.
Right. Again, with that insight, it is odd that he has not tried to get you guys to do something for him yet.
Oh, I thought you were saying that there must not be anything.
No, I'm saying that what your expectation would be for someone like him who uses people, someone like him who is slightly less than scrupulous.
Right. I mean, but what I took from that is that there are only 2 possibilities. Either he doesn't have anything for us to do, or he doesn't have anything for us to do yet.
Yeah, I thought what I took away from that was that he just wasn't interested in using us at this juncture.
Yes, probably, maybe.
Okay.
You would have expected to have been asked to do something at this point.
Yeah, that's why we keep probing. But because he's not providing us with anything, at all, has no interest in using our services, or he's just, we've at some root level just offended his family. We're not going to directly.
Or it may be that he doesn't trust us because of the relationship with the donut shop saving idiot paladin guy.
I'd like to at least ask what the in understanding the intricacies amongst the competing families, what's the gulf between the Burjones and the Dairns?
Isaac the Younger says basically it's the great game. Yeah, it's a zero-sum game. In order for some people to go up, others must go down. There is only so much favor. There is only so much power. There is only so much wealth to be had.
But with a
Yep. Abertax seems like he has no disagreement with that. He only steps in when that power or wealth comes from the dark powers.
Yeah, and I mean, from an outsider's perspective, why are families of your stature, like your comparable stature, like your family seems to be in a better position than that of the Brijons when there are other families such as the Capets who seem to own the entire slave trade and are opulently wealthy. Where's the is there a kind of a competition against them to bring them back down to to be more competitive amongst the other families?
Isaac the Elder says, "Oh, the Capets are the current holders of the writ of mastery over the human markets, as provided for by the king. They have great favor in the king's palace, and favor with the Capets is as good as favor with the king himself."
Yeah. Cool.
And so the other horse to back would be the church.
The rich get richer.
High Priest Vasily is an inspiring man who's dedicated a life to eradicating corruption and evil.
You've mentioned a high fondness of the High Priest a number of times. What exactly is he so busy with? What is this quest?
High Priest Vasily has been charged by Mitra himself of the religious fervor and faith and health of the very people of this great city.
I completely I understand. The question is not to insult his importance. It is to ask, what exactly is he so busy doing in furtherance of that support, in furtherance of meeting Mitra's high lofty expectations? Like what's going on? Like where's the need? We don't see we don't see throngs of the unfortunate littering the streets. We don't see a high amount of crime going on. Like what's going on?
Then obviously his actions have been successful.
Have you not seen how these people care for the temple? It's glorious.
Right.
And I can't bear right at the table slightly.
No, and that's I'm not asking that in a challenging fashion. I'm just asking, like, what is he working on? Like what is the threat to all of this that he is actually working on? What is that actual threat to what the priest stands for, what the city stands for?
Moral turpitude.
Yeah.
Perhaps if the High Priest will take time to give us a very brief audience, we can ask what we can do to be of service to the forces of light in their quest against the darkness here.
Yeah.
And if there is any keeper of souls, let it be Mitra.
And again, Isaac the Lesser stutters a little bit at the mention of a keeper of souls.
Is it right? Is it like saying Frau Blucher? See,
Frau Blucher.
It seems Crom is really egging us to just call him out in front of his parents.
Oh no, you should do it after dinner, like seduce him, like front your slutty blouse a little bit lower, undo those first links of chainmail.
Just finish off the aperitif. Oh, that was a delicious dinner. So, sinner.
I thought you were gonna go so, stud.
Okay, so I guess then we'll just we definitely want to talk to Isaac the younger, right? But again, we don't want to be calling him out in front of his parents. It just doesn't seem like good etiquette.
All right, are we done with dinner?
The dinner adjourns.
So I am going to try to spend a point of fortune to throw something into the story.
Go for it.
That Isaac the Younger, on his way out, accidentally drops a clue of Crom's choosing.
Okay. Let me figure exactly how that would go out.
If you need to do it next time, that's cool. Like
No.
Phone number written on a little slip of paper.
his cell phone.
Yeah, cell phone.
Okay. But I will need a successful observation check to note it.
Well, now that's not my department. I spent the fortune. He said, looking at the rogue assassin. What's your observation?
Assassin-rogue? Assasog?
Oh, I know it's 10.
I really ought to spend some on my lore, actually.
You are rolling terribly tonight, Verai. Just terribly.
I know. 1.
As dinner is adjourning, and you sit out in the smoking chambers having a puff. Tiber comes down to join you at that time after dinner, and sitting in the smoking chambers having a puff. You happen to notice with one success Isaac the Younger and somebody not wearing House Dairn colors, and Isaac the Younger hands him an envelope. This is maybe 20, 30 minutes later. And while you're thinking on that, I will be right back because I gotta pee.
Tiber, get yourself over there. Get yourself over here and enjoy that pipe and let the smoke envelop you. I'm very subtle.
Is anybody going to check on Tiber?
He just arrived.
Yes, I'm saying, yeah, but he also did witness the
Oh, look, by the time we're done with him, he'll see a lot worse.
Yeah, but thus far, that's the worst he's seen. That's the problem. He's just not acclimated to it yet.
You jealous of Gallon? No, that you are.
So, we're seeing a handoff. I'm curious if I can follow. I mean, it's after dinner. It's dark.
Yes. Let your curiosity envelop you and
Yeah,
pocket you're going to place your jewels in.
it's dark. I can be shady, sneaky. One of y'all maybe get some information from Isaac the Lesser. I'm sorry, Isaac the Younger. I mean, don't call him the Lesser. See if any of y'all can get information out of him, especially the Keeper of Souls, and then again on those mercenaries that tried to kill us.
Oh, I think anything that would raise that. I think we ought to just keep suspicions zero with Isaac, though. Isaac firstborn.
So 20, 30 minutes later, sitting out in the smoking area, the smoking chambers with Tiber. He's come down now. Basically, kind of like, he appreciates that you asked the family to invite him to dinner, but wasn't really feeling like dinner with the family, even on the special occasion that to be actually invited to dinner with the family.
Well, his presence was missed, and we just wanted to check in on see how you were doing, right?
He still seems a bit on edge.
Go figure. Play a magic coin trick and pull out a piece of flesh from behind his ear.
You missed some.
Yeah,
It's a witch's tit.
While you're talking to him is when you observe Isaac the Younger handing an envelope to somebody wearing not Dairn colors.
Yeah. And I'm curious, and I do want to ask Tiber, as I'm noticing it, like who's the stranger talking to your older brother?
He looks over. Courier of some sort, I guess.
So there not no emblems or anything that represents a specific family, just a generic courier.
Too far away to really see details. Just somebody that's obviously not in the regular Darren attire.
And couriers aren't normally invited in for a smoke, are they?
Not in the smoking chamber. You just kind of happen to see it like over in that hallway. Isaac the Younger is not in the smoking chamber. Like you see it over there, like through the vines, out the window, down the hallway.
All right, Vera, I go use Nature's credit card.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm exhausted. It's been a long day. I think it's time for me to retire. But please, our noble emissary and our noble witch hunter, continue to enjoy in the hospitality of our guests, of our hosts. But I'm going to retire for the evening and head down the hill. So thank you very much to Tiber. I'm glad you're doing well. Hopefully you enjoy the art. And then also Sir Isaac, like Tiber, if your father's not in earshot, thank him for his hospitality and
It's just Tiber with you in the smoking chambers, and then you guys.
Like I said, tell your father. Thank you for his hospitality. Your beautiful mother. Thank her for for attending dinner, and his brother as well. I'm gonna go lay down. I'm gonna go rest. Thanks so much. I'm gonna follow the courier.
A few moments after Verai leaves, I will need a thievery check from you, or a stealth, thievery or stealth, either one. You can take your pick. A few moments after he leaves, Tiber's mother comes into the smoking chamber. So for the two of you that are still in there with Tiber, she's about to be, yeah.
Oh, you mean literally?
Yes. Very, very long, like cigarillo thing, like, the long pipe with the cigarette that goes under the end of the cigarillo. She sits down next to Tiber, and her entire demeanor is different. Her entire demeanor is not what you saw at the dinner table. As she sits down here with Tiber in the smoking chamber in front of you guys, she sits beside him, very caring, very affectionate, and starts to make small talk. So Tiber, tell me more about some of your friends here and how you met them. I hear they helped you out with the quest to go improve your value. Tiber says he starts to kind of loosen up a little bit as he starts talking about how he met you guys at the bar randomly, and you were the only ones that actually wanted to drink and were nice to him.
Do go
on. And then how? Oh, I'm getting an echo suddenly. That's weird. And then how when you made it to the gem mine, you guys volunteered so readily to go and take care of the task to find those escaped slaves and their gems, and how you came back like a day or two later, and he just kind of retells the story a little bit. He seems to be enamored of you guys, particularly. He seems to be kind of enamored of you guys, as he's regaling the story to his mother, particularly of Verai.
Oh.
Not in love with, enamored with. You guys are about
literally what that word means.
You guys are about the only ones that have ever treated him as an equal and a whole human being. And it kind of comes through as he's talking to his mother. And the cold, quiet demeanor that she had at the table, she's still quiet. She's not talking a lot. But that cold, observing demeanor is now much more open, much more affectionate with her youngest son.
I do not interfere.
I also don't know how to bring up any questions about her change in demeanor.
Who are you?
You
What
could
did
roll
you do
a
with the
society
stone cold bitch for dinner?
You could roll a society check and let your character figure it out.
What'd you say?
You could roll a society check and let your character figure it out. Consequences be damned.
What do you mean consequences be damned?
The consequence is that you will be there. I think you just said that pretty clearly.
If you fail or make a complication, it could go quite south. But if you succeed, it
will also go quite south.
I can roll a society check. I have a decent chance.
Oh, why did you have to say that?
3.
All right. With 3 successes,
three successes.
You are able to politely step into the conversation and, kind of ask about that. And kind of the gist that you get from it is that basically what she says is there is the mother of the family and the mother of her son, her youngest son. And whatever her name is, because I haven't picked her name yet, the matriarch of family Dairn has certain pretenses to uphold.
It makes perfect sense.
Sure.
It does.
Not my business.
Not your monkey, not your
Not
circus.
my circus, not my monkeys.
Vera, you said you had 3 successes?
All right. Yeah, I got a 1 and a 13, and I needed to roll a 14 for stealth. So,
you are the shadow.
Oh yeah. You follow this corridor, and all you're doing is following.
Yeah, I'm actually more interested in following the envelope. So if that's getting passed off, that's what I'm mainly concerned about. I was like, where that envelope is going, knowing full well that the son's been suspicious during dinner. I'm curious where that's going.
It's going out the Noble District to the west, straight for the Western Gate, straight out the Western Gate, past the slave market, into the mercenary camp, through the mercenary camp to the north, to a building on the far side, a U-shaped building, really kind of like 2 rectangular buildings with a smaller building connecting the 2 of them. Think the barracks. Like with the between the wings, you got the 2 barracks and the little smaller building in between.
The chow hall in between the 2 big buildings. Yep.
Exactly. Not that large though. Nowhere near that large. More like the size of. I'm trying to think of a good comparison.
Carnegie Hall.
Huh?
Carnegie Hall.
Not exactly. Anyways, not that large, but still kind of that shape of a building. And he goes into said building in the mercenary camp. In front of the building is a sign with a crudely drawn shape of a wolf's head, kind of like the two ears, the shape out. A crudely drawn wolf's head underneath another crudely drawn dragon.
I've got it. We'll sneak in as sign painters. Get him a better wolf.
It's crudely drawn. Does that mean that it's like naked, but a whole bunch of phalluses, or is that
I hope so.
sketched with a dagger?
It is painted with nothing but penises.
It's
Penis
full tower dragon.
It
Okay.
is.
I mean, isn't that how you guys paint?
It is a cock wolf.
I wouldn't be able to get that.
Wolf.
It's like a cockatrice, but it's a wolf. You know.
I'm sorry, you had me at cock.
Okay, so out the noble districts to the west, through the western gate, past the slave market, into the mercenary camp, through the mercenary camp to the north, to a U-shaped building beyond the mercenary camp. Where
at the edge of the mercenary camp. Not beyond it, but at the edge of the mercenary camp.
You said beyond, you lion deity. Edge of... Okay. And he goes into the building, and then there's a wolf's head drawn. That's quaint.
A wolf's head and a dragon.
Yeah, we haven't experienced a dragon yet. I'm sure that's important, though. I do make note of it, obviously. Oh, would you expect me to go in?
That's what I'm asking you.
I expect you to go in. Don't come back if you don't. We will send you right back to slut school.
Fine. I'm gonna drunkenly wander up to see if I can even get in, because I'm a woman in noble's clothing without my armor or my weapons, by the way, because they're being cleaned back at the Darren's house.
Don't you have a disguise kit?
Also, you did all this 30 minutes later. I imagine you had time to grab some weapons.
We didn't say anything about that.
It's your own fault.
Well, he didn't know he was going to be doing this, and he had to leave immediately to follow the envelope.
But I've got my veg dagger, so we're okay. I'm just
Vag dagger?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
I'm just going to stumble up to the front door and see what's what.
Sure. It is late in the evening times at this point. You've already had a late dinner. It is now getting into nighttime. As you're getting here, you see a outside of, so there's the between the wings that you go in kind of between the two U parts of it to the middle piece kind of in the back and through it. And there is a small group of guards, 4 of them to be specific, kind of at the big front doors, kind of double doors there, going in. And as you walk up, you saw the courier go through just fine. He was stopped. He said something, and he made it through. As you go up, they stop you.
Hi, gentlemen. How was this fine evening faring for all of you?
It's hot. What do you want? We're not taking applicants right now. Come back in the morning.
Applicants? Do I look like I'm a mercenary? I work for a living, thank you.
Better be important. What do you want?
What isn't this the am I lost? I'm looking for the Barstow Inn.
The Barstool Inn?
I had a group of friends, lady friends, that were on duty, who told me to meet them at the Barstow Inn. But that isn't that this? I thought they gave me pretty generic directions, but it sounded like that was here.
No.
Where? Where am I? It's a dangerous place. It is dark out there. Where am I?
You're at the Drakenwolf compound, and you need to leave.
Drakenwolf compound? That's nowhere where... How do I get back to the Barstow Inn?
No idea. It's time for you to go. As they start puffing up their chests and putting hands on their hilts.
Okay, gentlemen, rack your hilts a little bit. I'm just looking for the Barstow Inn. If you can't tell me where that is, then I guess I'll just find out myself. Thank you. Have a good evening. Gentlemen.
Ask to speak to their manager.
So the two of you that are smoking and relaxing with Tiber and his mother, is there anything that you're doing other than just kind of small talking?
Yeah, I don't have any real idea of anything else that we might want information-wise from them.
All right.
So yeah, just small talk.
Vera, what are you doing?
Making my way back to get my armor and Doomslayer sword.
About an hour after she leaves, Vera makes it back. At this point, you've finished smoking and having, spending some time with Tiber. You've made it back to the. I'm assuming you're staying in the Darren guest house again tonight because it is nighttime. And you don't know where your friend is going to go.
I was mainly looking
Straight to hell is my guess.
I was mainly looking for A, my armor and weaponry. B, also, the other people in my group.
They are not in the smoking chambers. They're at the guest house where you recollect each other, reconvene, if you will.
And our stabbies?
Yeah, they're all there, nice and clean, and your clothes are clean. Some of your clothes have been replaced entirely and just gone, burnt.
I hate to say it, but I could get used to this.
That's probably for the better.
Tell us what was in the envelope, and how many pieces did you leave that person in?
So I didn't intercept the envelope. I only observed. But fun fact, at the north end of the mercenary camp is the Drakenwolf compound.
Of course it is. Why didn't you tell me earlier that's what you were looking for?
I didn't know that's what I was looking for. I said I was following the envelope, and wouldn't you know, it's got a crude drawing of a crude dragon and a wolf's head. So
and when you say crude,
yes, I mean phallus is everywhere.
Oh wow! All right.
So if I had to take a guess as to where our mercenary with a dire wolf's head was located, I'd probably venture that's the place.
And you think he's writing to warn them that we're on their scent?
I'm curious. We just referenced him in a dinner, and then all of a sudden, we're seeing so awkward. We're seeing a letter being delivered to a compound that probably has him there. So it's probably time to get information from Isaac the Younger.
Is there a subtle way to do it, like seduce him? I look at Zhang.
Or
not my type.
Or are you more of the idiot trying to save the donut shop type?
Do we even know if
I sword in that, but not in the way that you're playing?
Do we even know if Isaac the Younger is married? He is married?
Yeah, it's perfectly common to have concubines.
His wife was not at dinner, though.
I think the plural is concubine.
Was at dinner? I thought it was just the mother. Okay, cool.
Right, his wife was not at dinner.
Oh, his wife was not at dinner. Okay.
I mean, that's not going to stop you from seducing. It's the last time that stopped you from seducing someone.
Well, I mean, if Thornicius almost took one for the team, I suppose I could almost take one for the team as well. But
Or
if you
if
hear me
he's still
screaming,
out here, just break in his room.
if you hear me screaming ragamuffin in the middle of the night, come running.
Ragamuffin.
Okay, I will take the stealthy approach. That's probably a next week thing. But I will take the stealthy approach to his room to try to stealthily glean information. But if caught by him, that will be my my tactic, my backup tactic, my back dick, as it were.
All right. We have a plan, which is rare for us.
Okay.
Oh, like you get to talk about that, Mr. Honest.
Says the guy who's playing a video game.
This is our game, Michael. Now we have a plan.
Okay, cool. Crom, are you going to let us? How far are you getting with us before you? Okay.
Well, I mean, at this point, we've got about 8 minutes left before we call it. So, is there any other conversations or preparations that need to be made? And is everybody going to sleep except for you? Going to sleep at the Darren estate, I should say, except for you.
Okay, I am absolutely grabbing a my dagger from my armor set.
Yeah.
Not full armoring up because that would just be very suspicious in a place where I'm staying the evening, right? But definitely having a concealed dagger on me. I don't need my, like I said, don't need my armor. I'm maybe we're at the guest house. Is there a bottle of some sort of alcoholic beverage?
Yeah, you can get it. You can have a servant get you a bottle of wine or something.
I will take that as part of cover just in case.
Okay.
But right now, I think that's all I need. Other than that, I'm looking for any association with Isaac the Younger, with the Drakenwolf compound, or the Drakenwolf group, or anything like that. Or for that matter, the Keeper of Souls.
And I'll be staying at the guest house, but while I trust the hospitality here, I am somewhat afraid that
With an enemy actively sending messages to,
yeah,
I would also like to add extra precautions to the locking mechanisms room that I'm staying.
I may just stay up. I actually have, I think, a trait for that. Actually, one of my starting things, Sentry. Yes.
Ah, good. You can guard me.
And you can let me back in when I come back.
And so long as I have had a total of 4 hours of sleep within the last 2 days, I have no penalties for sleep deprivation and making observation tests, which I'm terrible at, but some better than nothing.
Okay. And anything else before we call it? I'll take that as a no.
No.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it here for tonight, and we will return next week. So, as always, thank you for being with us. Hopefully you join us. We do have some announcements for the rest of the week. We have, Wednesday, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Now that the party has laid their friend to rest, questions still remain. What is the cause of their amnesia? How much time have they actually forgotten? What happened to Noel? Find out this week in Edenia, Season 3, Episode 4, The Season 2 Blues. On Thursday, 8:30 Eastern, a completely new show starts on Thursday, Supervillains. Come find out what it's all about to be supervillains. And then, what is that? Friday, 6:30 Eastern, what Star Trek story will you write with the title, Do You Speak Non-Binary? Join Simon and Rufus the Robot and help them write that story. Watch The Architects of Fate on Cookie Trek on Friday. Sunday, the party draws ever closer to meeting Razn C, the warlord of the undead army that has plagued Choltz since before they arrived. Join us on Sunday to see how this confrontation plays out. And again, we will be here on on Tuesday next week for the next session of Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed of. So with that, we love you. Good night.
Good night.
Been here the entire game.